All right.
All right.
We're live.
We'll be live.
All right,
Yes.
folks. This is Harris Sultan, and I've got a very special guest with me, Armin Navabi. Some of you might have seen him before. And those who haven't seen him before, then you can go and check out his channel, Atheist Republic. He's the founder of Atheist Republic, where he discusses many current affairs, especially around, well, actually, all kinds of stuff you discuss, not just religious news. I think you discuss political news, especially these days in this turbulent times that we're living in. So Armin Navabi, but most importantly, Armin Navabi is an atheist who is an Iranian, and as you might have seen my thumbnail, where he's going to explain to us that why there are so many Iranian people rooting for Israel to the point where they're saying that let's bomb Iran because they're so sick and tired of the Islamic regime. First of all, welcome. How far-fetched is it? Because the idea of expecting another country to bomb your own country just doesn't seem very believable. That's why, like, when I tell all my Muslim friends, they just say, no, it's just Jewish or Zionist or Western propaganda. How true is this? I'm seeing so many messages from so many Iranians living abroad who are saying, Israel, come on, finish this job, to liberate us. Like, in the past, we've seen how America used to use this line as that we're going into Iraq to liberate the people of Iraq, or we're going into Afghanistan to liberate the people of Afghanistan. But here, for the first time, we're actually hearing from people from a country who are saying that, hey, bomb this terrorist regime to hell and liberate us. How true is this?
Well, so there are different attitudes, right? Like, obviously, there's a spectrum. Different Iranians have different perspective on this. There are a lot of Iranians that are just so tired of the Islamic Republic that they're can't wait for Israel to come and basically take out their enemies, especially given how Israel has been showing to be very, very successful at taking out the people that many Iranian people wanted to see dead for a very, very long time. I mean, let me just show you a video of Iranians thanking Israelis for taking out Hassan Nasrallah. So there's this one. I mean, I have so many videos on this. I showed a lot of these. I'm just going to mute it so I could talk over it as well. I showed so many of these videos on my previous stream on our channel, so you guys could go watch that. But this is just an example of that. People holding the Iranian flag and the Israeli flag. Well, the actual Iranian flag, not the current Islamic Republic flag. I keep mentioning on my own shows that the main flag that you see the flag of Israel being always flown next to is the flag of Iran. Like, these are the two flags that you constantly in Western countries being flown next to each other, is Iranian people celebrating Israel, which is crazy. So this guy, so Hassan Nasrallah, when Israel took out Hassan Nasrallah, this guy posted the video. He seemed to be very, very upset. I like to share this. So he was sad that Hassan Nasrallah was killed. So let's watch this.
I knew that. They're not a bit Zionist.
Yeah, so he's obviously. Yeah, no, he is he is Iranian. And I think he's Iranian living in Israel or something, but he's wearing a Cyrus shirt. Yeah. He is Iranian, and his name is his Instagram is ITAYBENDA. I just wanted to make sure I give credit for him. But again, there's so many videos like that. I also showed you videos of, but I have to be honest, I showed videos from the other side. There were Arzashis, or basically hardline Iranians, who were crying that Nasrallah was dead. People who were vowing revenge. So there is that side as well. I would say that the majority of the people are against the regime, against Nasrallah, happy that Israel that took out somebody like Nasrallah. And there are also people in between people who are against the regime. They are not anti-Israel, but they're also concerned that an attack, what would an attack on of Israel on Iranian soil would look like. They think that this might devastate their lives. Or would it destroy the economy? Should they be concerned about their safety? So there's a spectrum. There's a lot of celebration. There are a lot of Iranians who are welcoming Israel, who want Israel to come and basically take out this regime, because the Iranian people themselves do not have the weapons, do not have the power to be able to basically fight back against the regime. And they think that they see an ally in Israel. They see a powerful friend that actually does have the technology and the weaponry to be able to take these people out. The people that they want to take out themselves, but they can't. They think Israel is basically the main ally of the Iranian people. So these are basically, we could maybe categorize it in three people: the pro-regime people who are anti-Israel, the anti-regime people who are pro-Israel, that are celebrating Israel, and then there are people in the middle that are anti-regime, but they're also concerned about what a conflict might look like. So that's the three categories.
So we know that the current Islamic regime only enjoys between 15 to 20% support. So that means 80% of the Iranian public is not
It's actually
supportive of
closer
this.
to 8%. I think it's closer to 8%.
I was being really, really generous. So let's just go with 15 to 20%. Okay. Let's just be, because even that doesn't help their cause. So, and I would, so 80% of the Iranian public is not supportive of this regime, which I could understand. Now, within that, a lot of people would have varying views towards Israel as well, and also Israel's assistance. So we obviously don't have any statistics for that. But I just wanted to share this message with you. It says, I'm from Iran and sick of these Islamic theocrats and terrorists. I wish Israel retaliates real hard, even if it means we have to live without power or water for months. Finish this terrorism once and for all. Palestine is not our people's problem. And frankly, we don't give a S about them. Long live Israel. Show them your power. Show the whole world. Please keep me anonymous. So that was sent to Visegrad, which is a very pro-Israeli account. You're the smartest Iranian that I know, Armin. So what is your opinion? What do you want? Do you think that it would be good for the future of Iran if Israel actually takes out this regime? And we're going to discuss what options are on the table for Israel. Wouldn't you be, or how serious is the fear that if Israel takes out this Islamic regime, then chaos and anarchy will spread? So what is your opinion? What do you want, or what do you think is the best option for Iran's future?
Well, on average, I would welcome any actions against the Islamic Republic. The Islamic Republic is so devastating for Iran and the Iranian people that it's almost impossible to imagine a worse fate. Even if we have a temporary chaos, if this regime falls, the Iranian people will eventually turn that into order, right? Whenever there is a dismantling of a regime, there will be some period that might be chaotic. It might be short term, it might be long term, but the recovery after that, it will be so worth it, because right now Iran is dying a very fast death, like the natural resources, the missed opportunities, the change to the demographic. Like, I don't know if you know this, Harris, but the Iranian regime is basically trying to demographically change Iran by bringing people from religious people from Afghanistan to Iran. They are bringing they're noticing how people are leaving religion. They're replacing teachers, like educated teachers in elementary school and kindergarten, with mullahs, like people who have years of experience in teaching and are educated in how to deal with children. They're being replaced, and they're bringing mullahs from religious centers to try to get religion in from the very early on into the children. So attempts of brainwashing, attempts from bringing people from Iraq. They are university positions in Tehran who are kept for the most elite students that have passed the university entrance exams. A lot of those seats are being taken away and be given to Iraqis from Hashd al-Shabi, from Iraqi fighters, part of the proxies of the Islamic Republic in Iraq. The young people, they get to come and they're basically replacing the students in universities from other countries. So they're bringing religious people from other countries to change because they're noticing their own people that are supporting them. So imagine the natural resources of Iran are being wasted for supporting terrorism. The people, the people resources that the country has is trying to be engineered, and the mismanagement of the environment is causing so much devastating harm to Iran that is irreplaceable. Like some of these are unfixable, and the missed economic, like there are a lot of economic corridors that are now going around north and south of Iran, bypassing Iran because of the sanctions. That a lot of missed opportunities that will take decades and decades to recover from. All of these missed opportunities, if you add all of this damage together, that the Iranian people are suffering under the Islamic Republic, you could see why a lot of Iranians are justifiably thinking like, okay, even if there's some form of chaos at the beginning, even if we have to deal with some damages because there's war or something, nothing could be as damaging or as harmful as continuing to live under the Islamic Republic. So we will welcome them. We will welcome whatever cost it takes to get rid of these mullahs, because Iran is being destroyed, Iran is being wasted, and we cannot wait any longer. That's what so many people of Iran are calculating.
We discussed this possibility before in the wake of Mahsa Amini's protests. And then at that time, you said that, no, we wouldn't want any foreign intervention, because I think I discussed that the US does the same thing that it has done in Syria and other places, that, okay, let's arm the rebels and then, and then just leave. And then we all know what happened in Syria, what happened in Libya, and so on. At that time, you were against that idea. Obviously, if the Islamic regime is toppled, there would be chaos. But you're saying that the people would be so. Has there been a progress since Mahsa Amini's
Yes.
protests up to now, that people are more sick and tired of this regime, and they're saying, anything will do but them?
So I believe in the wisdom of the crowd, and I just try to reflect what the wisdom of the crowd is basically what their
and sorry, very
conclusion
quickly, I'll add another variable to that. Where does Reza Pahlavi fits in all of that? Like, do you think he could play a major role to calm things down if when the Islamic regime is toppled?
Right. Okay. So when we talked last, the Iranian people, it was a taboo to welcome a foreign intervention, right? So many Iranian people still said that, yeah, we will welcome a foreign intervention, but most Iranian people were saying that we got this ourselves. We will take regime change ourselves, right? After the Master Revolution, more Iranian people, again, not all, I don't want to paint everybody with the same brush, okay? But more Iranian people I've noticed since last time are convinced that, okay, we cannot do this by ourselves. We need foreign help, right? When it comes to foreign intervention, some people will support a foreign intervention conditionally. Like they will say that if it's precise, if it's targeted, if it's with low civilian casualties, if it's targeted at IRGC or Supreme Leader assets and not civil infrastructure, then they will support it. Some other people, so we have a huge spectrum. Other people are like, no, even if they come for the oil and gas, even though if people will suffer somewhat, if they come for the oil and gas, they will support it as well, right? But so I cannot tell you what most people think, because again, it's a spectrum, but I'm noticing a shift. It used to be so taboo, even if you're anti-regime, to welcome foreign intervention. Now that is not taboo anymore. Not at all. Social media is filled with celebrations of Israel taking out targets inside Iran. And they don't see that an attack on Iran. A lot of Iranian people say that if you think Israel coming in and taking out IRGC assets or the Islamic Republic assets, that is not an attack on Iran. That is an attack on the Islamic Republic. And anything that attacks the Islamic Republic is actually in defense of the people of Iran. The example I give on my Persian show is that you wouldn't, when Americans went to France to attack the Nazis, right? Nobody considered that an attack on France. Nobody would consider that just because it was on French soil. It was never considered an attack on France, obviously.
Or even Vichy's France. Or even Vichy's France,
Yeah.
because that Vichy was, the Vichy government was made up of French people.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's
So
that's
where
the
does
point.
Reza Pahlavi
Yeah.
fits in? Where does he fit in? Does he? You reckon he could establish some control?
So when all of these were taboo, Reza Pahlavi actually went to Israel, and before at that point, talking about Israel as an ally was still considered to be seen by many Iranians as taboo. And I think Reza Pahlavi had a huge influence in breaking that taboo among a lot of Iranians, and a lot of Iranians started celebrating Reza Pahlavi, a leader of the basically within the Iranian opposition, going out and meeting with the Netanyahu and other Israeli officials, showed to many Israelis how many Iranian people see, believe in a leader that wants friendship with Israel. So I think that was eye-opening moment for a lot of Israelis. So it's not just some random people on social media celebrating Israel. So Reza Pahlavi is the most popular political figure that is in opposition to the Islamic Republic. Like nobody else comes. I know some people like him, some people don't like him, but nobody comes close to Reza Pahlavi, not even remotely close to Reza Pahlavi when it comes to popularity among the Iranian people. So having such a popular political leader go to Israel to meet with Israeli officials, opened the eyes to, made everybody realize that Iranian people celebrate a man who wants normal relationship with Israel. So that that was eye opening. So and also Israelis. I noticed Israeli officials are getting closer and closer with Reza Pahlavi, and it might make a lot of them feel more comfortable with regime change, because there does seem to be somebody that you could either as a symbol or as a leader. There is something that people could gather around. There is a face. There's a figure that could cause some sort of unity, at least among half of Iranians. Again, there are a lot of Iranians who are anti the regime who might not like Reza Pahlavi, but again, there is nobody else that comes even close to Reza Pahlavi when it comes to popularity. And again, that's usually enough. You don't need like 90% of Iranians to believe in you for you to be able to create a political leader where people could come around and create some sort of stability, having 50%, 60%. And I suspect, just like how fast Iranian people's mindset shifted from not wanting foreign intervention to now celebrating Israel. And to be honest, the reason why that mindset shifted is because it was just too hard to miss out on celebrating Israel just kicking ass. Like I think the main is IDF and Mossad that deserve all the credit for why Iranians are now many of them are completely on Team Israel. It was just too cool. It was just too Hollywood. It was just too 007, and it was the Islamic Republic officials could, like, their ass it was constantly being handed to them, and people want to be on a winning team, and people were like, yeah, this is fantastic. Our enemies are helpless, they're pathetic, they're weak, and the people who are doing that are the Israelis. So yeah, fuck it, I love Israel, I celebrate Israel, so please Israel, keep doing these things. Because the fear that you see in the eyes of the like IRGC members or these mullahs or the infighting or the or or the inferiority complex. Because these are the people who, the way that they treat the Iranian people is like they're like monsters. They have a top-down view of these people that you could do anything with. So for them to see things happening to them, like Khamenei had to go hide in a hole just recently. And a lot of Iranians feel like, you know what, they're feeling the fear that they made us feel for so many years. You know, the fear that they might die, the fear that they have to hide. This is how many Iranians people had to feel for so many. The Iranian people that come on social media talk and they hide themselves. They wonder if their activism could get them in trouble. Now they have to. Khamenei has to live with that fear. So they're celebrating that. Actually, I have a good meme for this, so I am going to share that. But yeah, go on, but I'll go get that meme.
The reason why we're talking about this is obviously, let me give you a bit of a rundown, because we are expecting an imminent strike, and we'll discuss what those strikes could be from Israel on Iran. Because Iran, and I mean, I need you, I would welcome your thoughts on this. In my opinion, Iran had three options in the wake of Hezbollah's assassination. Or either do nothing and then get trolled by Muslims from all over the world on social media for for chickening out and not doing anything and only being paper tigers, etc. But that would have died out after some time. The second option would have been, I think some people were discussing that America might offer them some sort of a nuclear deal just to de-escalate things. I don't know how realistic that was. And the third option was to actually attack Israel. And because they reacted or acted so quickly, if you remember last time when Israel attacked IRGC's generals in Damascus, Iran waited for about a week or so, and then there were a lot of negotiations taking place behind the doors. But now, this time, I think 3 or 4 days after they attacked Israel, it looks like nothing really was going anywhere, and Iran took the nuclear option, not literally, but they took the nuclear option. They went for the hardest one. Did they have any other two choices? If you're saying that they're really scared of Israel's retaliation, and I think they have politically, they've made a blunder because they've actually played right into Netanyahu's hands, because Netanyahu has been looking for an excuse to attack, to escalate even more. I think he said it, escalate to de-escalate, whereas it was America who was holding Netanyahu back, that do not escalate, do not escalate. So he must have been under a lot of pressure. But after this, after launching 180 ballistic missiles, no cruise missiles, no drones like they did in April, this time they wanted to hit as many people as possible, as many targets as possible. So they've played right into the hands of Netanyahu, who now I think America, Canada, even Britain, all of them are saying, well, yeah, you have a right to respond. And I think, and then we're going to discuss which options, what options does Netanyahu have on the table. Do you think these three, do you think that Iran could have gone with the first option at least? Do not take any action and keep pushing for its proxies to do something, or it just lost all hope because Hezbollah's top leadership has been decimated inside 2 weeks?
Yep. So here's the thing: the Islamic Republic officials, I know because they're mullahs and they're religious and stuff, we want to believe that they're all idiots, but they're not. They have to deal with multiple threats. And they understand what threats they're dealing with more than other people who are judging them, right? The problem is that a lot of people do not see the internal threats that the Islamic Republic is dealing with. They're only looking at, because we're looking from a foreign politics kind of lens, we're looking at the threats to the Islamic Republic. We either see it as the people protesting in the streets or Israel coming and attacking the Islamic Republic of Iran. But there's a third threat to the Islamic Republic, which is greater than these two. And the reason why Islamic Republic had no choice but to respond was because of that third threat, right? The third threat was the regime's own supporters turning on the regime. And these people were turning more on the regime for two reasons: the hijab and Israel, right? Because these are hardliners that the regime has basically created itself for it to have a base. And remember, when I said that they have only an 8% base left, If this 8 turns into 6 and then to 5, I mean, even a dictatorial regime will not be able to survive with like 3% support, right? That's the last pillar that they have. They cannot lose that. They have to maintain their base. These are people who said they have bled, they have given martyrs, they have done the Islamic Revolution, they have died in many wars for this regime, to have a strong Islamic state that upholds Islamic law and stands strongly against the enemies of Islam and for Palestine, right? And so for this regime to be too weak and pathetic, so not to be able to enforce the hijab laws, or to be able to respond to Israel, will make these people think that they do not have an Islamic regime, that maybe they actually should bring an Islamic regime, because this is not an Islamic regime. And the internal threat, the fact that they have this division internally, is the greatest threat to the regime. And this is why the two blades of the scissor that is cutting this regime are the women of Iran and Israel. So these are the two things that the women of Iran, who are removing their hijab and is making these religious people, the religious hardliners, turn on against the regime, and Israel basically doing whatever they want against the proxies of the Islamic regime, and them not being responding. These are the two blades that are basically making this internal threat bigger threat. So the reason why the Islamic Republic had to respond was because, as much as they're afraid of a retaliation from the IDF, they are more afraid of a retaliation from their own hardliners. They are more afraid of that. So they have to choose between the lower threat. And again, when they attack, they are hoping that they could design an attack where, for internal consumption, they could create a form of propaganda that acts like they're very, very, very strong, but at the same time, somehow do an attack where Israel might consider responding in a way that they could deny that a response happened. For example, that's what Israel gifted them the last time, right? So last time, when the Islamic Republic threw 300 missiles and drones to Israel, and it didn't kill anybody in Israel. They didn't kill any. It always kills an Arab or a Muslim outside of Israel, but never kills anybody inside Israel. Last time it killed people, Muslims outside of Israel. This time
Yeah,
it killed one
a little
Muslim.
girl died in that case. Yeah, I remember that.
No. Last time a little Muslim girl was injured inside Israel, but outside of Israel, some Jordanians died from these missiles, right? This time, two people were injured in Israel, but only one Palestinian died in the West Bank. About a Palestinian who had run away from Gaza for his safety. He ran away from Gaza to West Bank, and the missile. I don't know if you saw the video.
Yeah, I saw that.
It wasn't even from explosion of the missile. The missile basically just dropped on his head, so it was weird. It was crazy.
It was actually intercepted, so it was a shrapnel.
So it was intercepted, and the shrapnel just hit on his. Yeah, okay. So it hit on the head of the pilot. They just managed to kill Muslims every time they attack Israel for some reason. Yeah. So last time when they did that, Israel responded in a very targeted way. They had an S-35 shoot a missile from outside of Iranian border, went all the way to the heart of Iran in Natanz, next to the nuclear facility that Iran has, and it took out the radar section of the Iranian S-300, which is Iran's greatest defense mechanism, which is supposed to be able to see everything coming at it, and it didn't see that missile coming at it until it exploded, which is bizarre. Basically, Israel demonstrated that they have the capacity to reach everywhere within Iran without the Iranian defense systems noticing that. So Israel managed to show its deterrent capability, show the Iranian regime, the Islamic regime, what it's capable of, but it was so precise and targeted that the Islamic Republic felt like, okay, there was not a huge explosion somewhere, so I could basically deny that anything special happened, and I don't have to retaliate. So Israel managed to show the regime that, look what I can do, but also let's end it here. this is what the Islamic Republic wants, that form of because it knows that Israel will retaliate, but it hopes that it retaliates like that this time, so it doesn't have to retaliate again in response. So we don't know what's going to happen right now. The Israeli regime has promised that the retaliation is going to be huge, but again, right now, here's an interesting thing that happens every time
we
the Islamic
will talk
Republic.
about
Yeah, go.
we will talk about how Israel is going to respond, but I just want to go step by step. So, okay, well, as an outsider, I was actually thinking that Iran would probably not respond because it could give them plausible deniability. Because officially, Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas are not Iran's proxies. Iran denies that. So if Nasrallah is taken out by Israel, it's none of Iran's business, just like it's none of any other Muslim country's business. But obviously, as you said, that just like Netanyahu is pressured by the far right wing politicians inside Israel, in Iran, Khamenei is pressured by the far right of Iran, and that is an ever shrinking support base that they have. So I actually thought that they might sit that one out. Because I was listening to a lot of Western experts as well, and they were saying pretty much the same thing, but nobody was 100% certain. So Israel, of all countries, due to common interests, understands that Iranian people are sick and tired of this regime. And obviously, Israel has its own vested interest. Iran has been the biggest thorn in their eye for the last 20 years or something. And Israel has always been worried about Iran's nuclear program and has always looked for excuses to destroy its nuclear program. And we'll talk about the Zagros Mountain and also in Isfahan nuclear conversion facility, how likely it is. So now they have given them the reason. And Netanyahu, America, who's been holding Netanyahu back from any serious retaliation, I think in April, that's why Israel's response was very muted, where they just dropped one bomb near Isfahan, a nuclear conversion facility. But this time, those restrictions don't exist. So, first question before we go to Israel's options: how was Netanyahu's speech received in Iran? Because, as I said, of all other countries, Netanyahu, because he has a vested interest and he has common interest with these Iranian rebels. I don't know if that's dissidents. I'd probably say that's probably a better word. So he knows it. So that's why he directly addressed the Iranian public. How was it received in Iran?
It was the most well-received speech by Netanyahu ever. It exploded. It went viral everywhere, and there was so much love. There was so much love for that video. Again, I know I have some criticisms here and there for Netanyahu sometimes on my shows, but this video was 10 out of 10. Well, almost 10 out of 10. But the Iranian people loved it, and I don't know who advised Netanyahu to, like, it was perfect. It was a perfect message. It basically, many Iranian people, it resonated with a lot of Iranian people. For some reason, the part that he mentioned the names of some cities in Iran, the fact that he was mentioning those names also made a lot of Iranian people, Iranian people love it when foreigners understand the division between the Iranian people and the regime. So when people demonstrate that they understand that the Iranian people that the regime does not represent the Iranian people, I've always seen people loving that and enjoying that people understand that. But the details and the reasons why Netanyahu gave for this division, and also how strongly he celebrated the Iranian people and how much he started mentioning their potential and all the positive attributes of the Iranian people and what could Iran become, and also referring to history. I think he really understands the Iranian people. When he referring to the great past of Iran, I think he knows exactly what to talk about. I think when I was,
I'm sure he has
to that
advisors.
video,
I mean, you can tickle the balls a little bit.
I was listening to that video. I was like, oh, this man really understands what to say to make the Iranian people love him. But whatever you want to say, that it worked. And I've seen even people who used to be anti-regime, but also not very friendly with Israel. I've even seen some of those people, like kind of like this video was, they were celebrating that video. So it was perfect. It was an amazing video that is doing exactly like, if the video was designed to make more Iranian people pro-Israel against the regime, it's doing exactly that. Many channels who did not celebrate Netanyahu are celebrating this video right now in Iran. Many content creators, which is really good. Yeah,
That's very smart of him. You know what? I also used to criticize Netanyahu. I'd buy into it, but then I realized I think it's just easy for us to just use him as a punching bag and say, "Hey, look, I don't support Netanyahu, but you know what? He's actually grown on me so much. I've actually become his fan, because he's probably one leader in the Western world, if you want to include Israel in the fold of the West. He's one leader who actually is not holding back. We see all these other Western leaders who just keep appeasing, even in America. They just keep appeasing these radicals. They're not willing to take any action. He sits down and says, "F this. We're going after it," and I really like this attitude, and I think that's what's pissing off a lot of these Islamist propagandists online. So anyway, okay, so let's move to the crux of this.
Actually, let me tell you that a lot of Iranians say that Iranian people, they say they have no friends anywhere other than Netanyahu. Some people are saying this.
I feel the same as an ex-Muslim. As an ex-Muslim, I feel like he's probably the only politician who can actually understand the threat of Islamism and radical Muslims.
Right. People are saying like nobody has the balls to take out our enemies the way this guy is. That's what they're saying. We say, a lot of Iranians are saying now, we don't have a friend in America. We don't have a friend anywhere else. Our only hope, our only savior is basically the Mossad and the IDF and Netanyahu. And also some Iranian people are saying, well, it's only fair because it was Iran that basically saved it was Cyrus the Great who saved the Jews from their captivity at some point, from their exile.
He did.
Yeah, so
isn't that where
you could return the favor now, and basically
isn't that where the whole idea of secularism came from? I think wasn't that the Jews who actually made him?
Yeah, I mean, I could get into nuance.
Anyway,
yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, well, let's not get
based on the standard of his time. Based on the standards of the time, Cyrus the Great was the most tolerant, accepting emperor of diversity. Yes, and I'm not saying that because I used to think that this is a lie, and Iranian people just
it's on the cylinder.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so let's get to the crux of this video. So here we are. Iranian people are sick and tired of the Islamic regime, that a big chunk of them would even have a foreign power bomb their country so they can get rid of these clerics, these theocrats. Israel has got the best excuse to go in and attack the Islamic regime. The Western powers who have been holding Israel back have no leg to stand on now. Hezbollah is almost decimated. The top leadership is decimated, although the foot soldiers are still there. And I think this ground incursion is taking place right now. We don't know how long it's going to go for, but I think they're saying that they're not going to go beyond that river. What's that river called? They're not going to go beyond that river. So hopefully that is not too messy and bloody. I think today 7 Israeli soldiers lost their lives. So that's where we're at. But the next big showdown is, how is Israel going to retaliate? Now, we're expecting a retaliation within the next couple of days. Maybe it could happen even in the next few hours. There are 3 options again. Number 1, are they going to go for the nuclear facilities? Are they going to go directly for Khamenei? And with nuclear facilities, I remember last time I spoke with you, you said those nuclear facilities are embedded so deep in the mountains of what they call Zagros Mountains, that it would be even the United States may not have the capability to go that deep. However, I was listening to some military expert today where they said that this bunker in which Nasrallah died, this was 100 meters below the surface, and obviously on top they had these apartment complex. So was it F-22 or F-35s that dropped nearly 80 bunker busting bombs? And apparently how it works is that you can just keep dropping more and more bunker busting bombs. So it digs a hole and then you drop another one, and digs another hole and then you drop another one, and that's how you keep going. So I don't know whether that can happen with this nuclear facility in Zagros Mountains. So that, or what about Khamenei? Khamenei, as you said, is also hiding in a
He's
hole
coming
somewhere
out this Friday. He's
and
coming out on Friday.
And the third option is maybe, just attack some military installations outside of Iran, or maybe in Iran. That would just, again, send another clear message. I personally think that this is not it. If this is a repeat of what happened in April, or maybe just a little bit more intensified, then I'd be really, really disappointed, and I would go from really liking Netanyahu to really hating him, because this is a golden opportunity. What do you think out of these three possibilities, or if there are any other possibilities for that matter? Which ones are the most likely ones, and which one would you want?
Yeah, they could take out nuclear facilities. And again, guys, nuclear facilities, we're not talking about any, like the ones that produce energy. We're talking about the ones that are enriching uranium. So it's not like it's going to have a Chernobyl effect or something like that. The ones that are enriching uranium, if you bomb those, that's not going to cause that, the disaster that people think. So those are the bunker busters that Israel used to kill Nasrallah, apparently those are some missiles that they didn't have before, and now they have now, that could go deep into the ground. But again, remember, I don't know if it's much stronger than before, but it might not be strong enough to go that deep where the enriching of uranium is happening, right? So I think for because like Nasrallah was, I don't know, it's like
about 100 meters down,
ground,
100 meters down,
100
or 100
meters
feet
down. Yeah, that is not that much. If you go look at the enriching uraniums, the way that that is really deep underground, and it's protected not by just like a hole that they made in the ground. It's protected by like layers of mountains, right? So to be able to take out those, I've been told by military experts. Again, I don't know. I'm not a military expert myself, but listening to military experts, only United States can reach those. Only United States can reach those.
And the US has actually already told Israel that they're not behind Israel in going after Iran's nuclear facilities.
Yeah, however, they have said, even Biden and Harris came out and said that they are in favor of Israel going out and doing something in it. This is what happens. Like whenever the Islamic Republic attacks Israel, it gets everybody supporting Israel to some extent. Unfortunately, Biden came out and said that they will not support taking out nuclear facilities, which I don't know why not. Maybe because it means that they would have to do it. But they did. But even the Democrats are supporting Israel responding right now to the Islamic Republic, right? Which is
no, but it's a question of capability. So you're saying that it may not be entirely possible. However, what about Isfahan nuclear conversion facility? What about that one? I saw the map of it. That's above ground, isn't it? And that's where
yes, but but anything that you hit will be able to. The main things that will cause serious damage to enriching uranium capabilities by the regime are deep within the mountain or deep underground, right? And I've been told that Israel doesn't have enough powerful missiles to be able to go that deep. But again, every time we get surprised by Israel's capability, so I don't know. But this is what we have been told so far, right?
The way they got Nasrallah, apparently now the reports are coming in. There was an informer in, I think there was it was an Iranian informer that actually ratted him out. So yeah, Mossad might play they might have another trick up the sleeve.
By the way, there's a joke that the Iranian people have. Every time you see IRGC or military commanders in Iran meeting, anytime the picture comes out, Iranian people sometimes joke like, I wonder which one of them is the Israeli representative, because the understanding is that Israel has their own people in all the high places in Iran and everywhere places. So, even within the office of the supreme leader, they think that Israel has their people there. So that's one option. The other option, the option that is being, okay, let's go to Khamenei. Khamenei is going to, apparently, it has been said that in this Friday prayer in Tehran, he's going to be leading. He's going to be the imam of the Friday prayer. this Friday, right? So that is him basically coming out in public and exposing himself this Friday. And a lot of people are waiting and saying, well, this is the chance then. This is the way to do it, right?
Why would he do this? Does he want to go as a martyr or something? Well,
no, I don't think so. He's not like that. He loves he's people close to him have reported that he's really paranoid, doesn't want to die, stuff like that. He's not
he
like
loves
that.
life.
But yeah, he loves that. But some people, again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. Some people are suggesting that IRGC might want to take Khamenei out, or like trying to shift the powers. I mean, again, these are conspiracy theories. I don't know, but
Do we know who
I
could
mean,
be
some
his
people are.
successor though? Is there second in line?
So we just got for the first time a video from Mujtaba Khamenei's son, which is people understand that it's going to be the next supreme leader. And I could do another show with you about that, because the man is not charismatic at all. Like his father, like we had the first video of the potential next supreme leader out, and it was, and I could tell you what he said in that video. That's a different discussion. And everything that he said is code. Like I could tell you, I could analyze. It's like only
we'll
like
do it
a
separately
1 minute
on that
video.
one.
Yeah, we could do it. Another one. Okay.
So
So there's
Khamenei's-
Khamenei's son apparently is supposed to be. But here's the thing: a lot of people are suggesting that might not be a valid target, because it's not going to weaken the Islamic Republic if you take out Khamenei. It might actually strengthen the Islamic Republic. In fact, if you take out Khamenei, I mean, the whole point right now, there's a shift between the supreme leader, like the power is shifting more and more towards IRGC, away from the office of the supreme leadership. And the understanding is that with the death of Khamenei, this process is going to start happening faster. So if you take out Khamenei, first of all, you turn Khamenei into a martyr. You're going to give a lot of propaganda tool to the rest of the regime, and you're going to help with the whole shift towards making IRGC the main power in the Islamic Republic. So I don't know how that would help.
But what about taking out multiple leaders, kind of like what they did with Hezbollah?
Yes, that would be better. Like, for example, if you took out, when you went for Hezbollah, if you started with Nasrallah, that might actually help with Hezbollah, right? But if you keep taking out all the main key people and then lastly go to Nasrallah, that was the way to do it. But starting with Nasrallah would not have been the way to do it, right? So if you manage to take out all the way, but there's too many, like the Islamic Republic. I mean, the Islamic Republic is a little bit, there's systems rather than just key figures, right? So it's a little bit more difficult to do that within the Islamic Republic, to be able to take everyone out and then go for Khamenei. I would okay, if I would like to see key IRGC figures being taken out. I think that would be a more of a damage to the Islamic Republic than taking out Khamenei. Key IRGC figures being taken out would be more of a blow to the Islamic Republic than Khamenei himself, I think, right? I don't, but maybe taking out Khamenei would get the Iranian people in the streets. There's that too. Like if Khamenei is taken out, for example, the Iranian people would be might be so inspired by seeing something like that it would flood the streets with people protesting. That might also be,
as Reza Pahlavi has been urging the Iranian public to do. So I think he tweeted, or I read his statement somewhere where he was urging the Iranian public to rise up, and now is the time to overthrow their autocratic leaders. So yeah, as you said, okay. So those are two options. The third option, as I said, we don't really like it. I don't want it to be just another, just an attack, just a show pony attack. So are there any other options that could be at Israel's disposal?
The main thing that they're talking about right now in Israel,
the fuel supply,
is energy facilities, right? And so there's a mixed reception of that, right? So here's the thing: if they take out military facilities, most Iranian people would be like, fantastic, many of them, right? If they take out atomic facilities, fantastic. If they take out IRGC people, or the supreme leader, or any of these other key figures, Iranian people will be clapping for that. Many of them will be clapping for that. But if they take out energy facilities, I think there will be a mixed reaction to that, right? Some people will be like, yeah, fantastic, because the oil and gas that is being sold, most of that goes to IRGC and terrorists anyways. It doesn't go to the Iranian people, right? But at the same time, it will hit the pocket of the Iranian people if they go for energy facilities, right? And some Iranian people are like, you know what, it will hit our pocket, but it's worth it because we want to end this regime. And some Iranian people were like, yeah, why do I have to pay the price for this? And so if they go for energy facilities, I would say there would be a mixed reaction to that by the Iranian people. Yeah.
I read somewhere that 85% of Iran, the Islamic Republic's revenue comes from, 85% of its exports are made up of Iranian oil. And that goes through that very narrow channel of the Persian Gulf. So Israel could actually take that out as well, or could somehow manage to restrict Iranian ships. So you're saying that would obviously contribute, that would, first of all, that would hit the pockets of the Islamic regime, but consequently it would also affect the general public as well, and that could anger them. So would Israel be concerned about that though? Like would Israel be really concerned that, okay, well, these Iranian people are now turning against me? Strategically, I don't think that makes that much of a difference as far as Israel's objectives are concerned.
Yeah, I don't think that. Here's the thing. So, for example, the sanctions right now, there are not that many Iranians that are blaming the United States for the sanctions, right? So so even though it's the United States that is putting sanctions on the regime, and a lot of Iranians are living, living in hardship because of the sanctions, you don't see that many Iranians coming out saying like, "Oh yeah, F America for the sanctions." They're blaming the regime for doing something that has made the world be forced to put sanctions on Iran, right? So given that history, maybe many, again, there's going to be a spectrum. We can't speak on behalf of all Iranians, but there are many Iranians who might be harmed economically by energy facilities being taken out, but they wouldn't be pointing their fingers at Israel. They would be pointing their own regime. I mean, they would understand, like, okay, like many Iranians are saying like, yeah, I'm living in hardship because of these things, but why would I blame Israel? You guys have promised to annihilate Israel. This is what I hear from many Iranians. Like, what do you expect another country do in response to a promise of fucking annihilation? Like, of course they're going to do everything they can to survive. This is not their fault that they're doing this. This is your fault that you are hell-bent in destroying this country. Like, what do you think they're going to do? Of course they're going to do everything they possibly can to survive. That's what I mean, I see a lot of mature, to be honest. I have to be proud of a lot of Iranian people, even the ones who are
finally you're feeling proud of your Iranian people. You've always said you always said that I don't use that word.
No, I am. No, I mean, I am proud of them because of their maturity, not because they're Iranian. You know what I mean? Yeah. I try to be. I'm being objective here, and I do think a lot of Iranian people have a higher understanding of things not because they're naturally better, but because life has taught them. Like, they have gone through they're students of circumstances, and they have learned so much from their experience. And I think that's why they're wiser and more mature than many people in the region.
Well, so as I said, we are eagerly waiting for Israel's retaliation. I, for one, cannot wait for the destruction of the mullahs, and I want to see Iranian public liberated, even if that liberation comes from Israel, with the help of the Israelis. So that would be very interesting. Armin, do you want to quickly read some
super chats?
Yeah, and then we'll just wrap it up after that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's do the super chats first. Billy saying, don't have time to say, but love you guys. Harris, I love your passion, but don't let Twitter and the online Islamists make your heart grow cold.
Yeah, sometimes they get the better of me.
Yeah. And then we have Merchant Recha is saying, hello, Harris. I don't know how to read that.
Bhai means brother.
By brother. Okay. I hope the country of children of heaven, a separation, and
And
the
the salesman.
salesman finds long-lasting peace. By the way, Armin. Okay, you read that. I don't know what.
Okay. By the way, is is Armin married? Sorry for asking on a public forum. So is Armin married or not? I don't know. By the way, it's a
Yes,
female.
I'm married.
Okay. Sorry, Rekha. Okay. Next one.
Okay. Okay. Already in 2009, I remember an Iranian calling a TV studio. Maybe it was CNN. She said, "Obama, come help us." What I remember, at least that was the meaning. Yes.
Isn't that when?
Yeah. So these.
Sorry, go on. Yeah,
These
you know it better.
no, these sentiments were always there, but now they're more than before. I had a video I wanted to show you. Let me know if there's time.
Yeah, absolutely.
After the super chat. Okay. So some people, yeah. So question: hybrid is asking with super chat nuclear. Yeah, maybe they will go full nuclear. Right now, they're talking about energy facilities, right? Animal with the 40 rupee super chat saying, "Is it true in Iran Khomeini never die? Khomeini never died. No, Khomeini is dead. It's Khamenei that is left.
Yeah, it's
Khomeini is
Khamenei
dead.
and Khamenei. A lot of people misunderstand that, especially in India and Pakistan.
Yeah. Anish with the super chat saying, Harris and Armin, the crossover I didn't know I needed. Okay, well, we have done this many times.
Yeah.
Ayatollah Khamenei is saying, return to Islam for free corn in Jannah. Armin, my boy. Okay, that sounds appealing. Thank you. Junaid with saying, I don't like the regime, but I am concerned for the West getting into a situation just like Iran, and it could be the case because not everyone in Iran is Persian. What do you think about that? Okay, so I don't care about the Iranians being Persians or not. The fact is that Iranian people are very, very secular and liberal minded. So the problem with Iraq is that once the regime fell, it was hard to maintain like order because many people had many different. It was chaotic, right? We had but in Iran, but I suspect, again, I don't know, I can't be sure, but because there's such a desire for a secular liberalism, for democracy, if there is a regime, if the regime falls, even if we have a short temporary chaotic period, the Iranian people will figure it out and they will bring stability to the region shortly after. I mean, I hope so, but I think that's why it will be different. The difference is that when United States and Iraq went to do nation building, but when you are toppling the regime in Iran, you don't need nation building because the Iranian people will be doing the nation building themselves. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, but I was just going to say, we see a little bit of turmoil after every revolution. So even if there is a turmoil for 5 to 10 years or something, Iraq has somewhat settled down a little bit. I mean, I know ISIS happened,
yeah,
and there was a big Sunni-Shia divide. Is there a big Sunni-Shia divide in Iran? I don't think so.
no,
it's not that bad in Iran.
The people in Iran are becoming less and less religious. So there's not that much of a Sunni Shia. The Sunni Shia divide is between the regime and the minority Sunni. It's not between the people. The regime, which is a Shia theocracy, has some division against the Sunnis, and the secular-minded people of Iran defend the Sunnis not because they're the Sunnis, as oppressed people by the Shia regime, like as a minority that needs protection, right? In that way. Yeah.
All right.
So
I think we have a couple
we have
left.
another super chat.
Harris at Bondi Beach.
You want to read
Yeah, guys. Harris at Bondi Beach. That's in Sydney. If arms manufacturers started using pig leather for gun grips, terrorism will reduce because terrorism has no religion. I think the last part is sarcastic. I think he's saying. Yes.
And we got a super sticker from Kaidi. Thank you so much. And okay, let me show you just a few things.
There's
first
one
of
more.
all, no, first this meme. Okay, hold on. This is Iranian people have made this meme. This is basically the regime in front of the Iranian people. Before the top one is the regime in front of the defenseless Iranian people.
I think I know what it says.
And the bottom one is the bottom is the regime in front of Israel, right? And
Yeah.
also, I just wanted to show you that this was the celebration on Iranian TV once the missiles that the regime hit, since it actually managed to land in Israel. They were so happy. So they were waiting for something like this for eventually for their missiles to actually reach Israel, right? Because last time it didn't hit anything. So even though so this is why the regime knows what it's doing, even though they are incapable of actually killing Israelis or doing any major harm. Anything they do, they have these supporters that act like they have basically brought hell to Israel. So look at this video. This is the regime official.
Yay!
So he's saying like, oh my God, they hit. So look at how low the expectation is. The fact that the missiles actually managed to reach Israel and hit the ground there, he's saying it hit. I mean, it didn't actually kill anybody and it didn't cause any damage, but they're acting like they have moved mountains. Anyways, the whole video is basically showing them being extremely happy. Yeah.
And there's another video of a Turkish TV host as well doing the same thing. They're celebrating, they're giving each other sweets. But have a listen to this. It's not, guys, it's not just Armin saying it, who's an ex-Muslim and an atheist and a dissident. Listen to what Mohammed Hijab is saying. Can you share my screen, please?
Oh, where is it? Yeah.
Look what Mohammed Hijab is saying. He's saying, how low have we set the bar when the impotence and weakness of all Sunni Muslim states have left us so desperate that a mere fireworks display by a Shia state can spark a false sense of joy.
Wow, this is, I agree with Muhammad. Yes.
I read that somewhere.
Actually, I completely agree with Muhammad Hijab. This is an accurate take. This is an accurate take for once. Yes, you guys are basically pathetically weak. Congratulations for Muhammad Hijab for not lying to the Ummah. But yeah, go on.
But but I've seen actually a lot of Muslims still cannot get past the Sunni Shia divide, because Muhammad Hijab actually called out Nasrullah and Hezbollah for its role in massacring 100,000 Syrians. So Muslims are going after them. Hey, it doesn't matter, we have to put a united front in front of the world, in front of the Jews. But he was like, hey, look, the Jewish hatred takes precedence. So when it comes to Israel, I would support Hezbollah. But when it comes to what they did to my Sunni brothers in Syria, I hate them.
Right. They will forget the hatred for Shias when the Islamic regime in Tehran manages to act like the only legitimate threat to Israel. So this is what the Islamic Republic tries to do. It tries to become the leader of the Islamic world by making people forget that it's Shia, by making itself look as if it's the only defender of the Palestinian people. But all that investment and all that propaganda will go away as soon as they demonstrate weakness, as soon as they show that they actually are incapable of causing serious damage to Israel. Then all the Sunnis in the world will remember again that, hey, actually you're Shia, we hate you. But they will forget that they hate them if they manage to cause serious damage to Israel, but they remember it again when they actually show that they are pathetically weak. So this is the game that the Islamic Republic has to play.
Have you also?
Go on.
No, you go on. Finish super chats. I've got a couple of questions.
No, you might forget. Say it, and then
so have you actually noticed the sinister game being played by some of these Islamist propagandists? I don't know if it's coming from a genuine belief system that they have, or I reckon Daniel Hakikachu, for one, I think he deliberately stirs things up. For example, I've noticed they're trying to turn Christians against Jews, the far right of America against the Jewish public. For example, look at this one. Where is the Christian outrage on the bombing of Beirut? 30% of the city is Christian. And I've seen so many of these similar posts and tweets from other propagandists, like the Syrian girl and Daniel Hakikachu, where they're trying to rile up the Christian right of the West against the Jews. And to some extent, it looks somewhat effective, because we are seeing a lot of anti-Semitism coming from the Christian far right, which usually back in the day didn't used to exist.
I don't think they're creating it. The anti-Jewish hatred, it's always there underneath everything. It just needs people to tap into it. You know what I mean? It's not there. It's all the anti-Jewish hatred is so widespread that these people recognize it, that it's there, and they just try to embolden people to say it out loud. They want to provide them a community, a support, a sense of unity with each other, so that they feel confident enough to come out and speak it. Not that they're creating it; it exists. You just need enough community and support for you to be able to be daring enough for them to basically to speak it out. But I think they recognize that it's not just Muslims who have this anti-Semitic views, that this is a global thing, that it could be used as a point of unity. That's what they're tapping into. That's what I think is happening.
But what I don't understand is that why do they feel compelled to actually team up with mostly brown Muslims who also hate Jews? So, like most of these people, we used to think that they're just racist. But what I don't understand is, for example, Hitler teaming up with that Grand Mufti of Jerusalem. It's like Hitler had his specific, very particular idea of a master race or superior race. Why would he team up with a Palestinian? Yeah, I get it. You hate the Jews, but shouldn't you hate brown Muslims too? But
because the anti-Jewish because the anti-Jewish hatred is the strongest hate.
Why
right? It's
though?
stronger than the other hate.
But is it coming from because they believe that these guys killed our Jesus? Is that why it is? So it can't be racist though. It's not grounded in race though.
I mean, you ask why as if they're supposed to make logical sense.
No,
right?
to them, they might. They might say, "You're brown, you're inferior. You're Jew, you're inferior." So the racist people have a rationale behind that.
Okay, racist. Okay, so racist people, you might be brown and you're inferior in their minds, but if you're Jew, it's not just that you're inferior; you're cause of everything that is evil. So there's one thing for you to be inferior. There's another thing to be pure evil itself. That's the difference.
Like running these pedophile gangs, running financial institutions, having all the politicians in your pockets, and all that. Those kind of conspiracy theories.
It's beyond just examples of actions. Jewishness is evilness in a metaphysical sense. Like it's essentially evil. It's not just evil because of the things that they do. It's basically evilness in flesh, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's more essential. It's more but inherent. It's less based on, oh, look at they're doing. These are just what the evils that you see. They do is just a reflection of something more philosophical or metaphysical. It's a representation of something that is a lot more deep rooted in their philosophy. So you don't even need examples.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I mean, on the one hand, you have Muslims. Again, obviously not all Muslims.
These are not my views. I'm talking about their philosophy.
No, I get it. I get it. But I'm just saying that I don't understand their mindset. That on the one hand, you have an ideology that has brought down 2 of your buildings. Every second day, you see some Islamist-inspired terrorist attack. Then on the other hand, you have Jewish people not doing anything. I was like, okay, I get it that in times of war, you might. This is why I think that a lot of this criticism, there are a lot of decent people who are just misguided and misinformed when they see these videos of kids blowing up and they get upset. I get it. It comes mostly from ignorance, not understanding how wars work and not understanding the context of the war, etc. I get that. I'm willing to give them a bit of discount. But then on the other hand, all these people they've come out of the woodworks, like Nick Fuentes and all these people, they've come out of the woodworks and they're like, yeah, see, we told you Jewish people are evil. It's like, what did they do before that? Oh, I see. They were behind COVID. They control financial institutions. They control.
First is they take out empires. Okay, like they see the Jews behind the fall of every great empire. They are anti-order itself. Okay, they consider them to be these selfish people that are against everything that is good, everything that is wholesome, everything that is kind, everything that is pure. When they see that, they want to destroy it. That's how they see it. And they say, like, these are the people who took down the Roman Empire. So you don't think they could bring down this whole Western Empire as well? Like, if they took down the Roman Empire,
Is that what they
everything that
believe?
ever worked, yes, everything that everything that ever worked in history that was providing value to society, when they think that when the Jews saw that, they had to destroy it.
Yeah, and then we have kind of like that Candace Owens and all these people. Like, yeah, so crazy, man. You know what? I this war has actually taught me a lot about Israel and Jewish people. You know, I also used to, somewhere in my mind, I used to think, yeah, they control everything, but not I had any hatred for them. I just thought, oh yeah, they're very successful, influential people. But now, for example, now in Australia, I don't know if you heard about it. We should have discussed it at some point. We should do this more often. I mean, there's so many other ideas that I want to exchange with you. But yeah, anyway, it's going over. Anyway, so yeah, no, I think it'll take us another half an hour to discuss
Well,
that. But I
let's
think
do more. Yeah.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
do a lot more of these. A little shorter than that, but we'll try to do once a week or once every 2 weeks because I always value Armin's input. Keeps me in check,
Oh.
keeps me sharp, and also I think a lot of my audience, which is exploding lately, which has been exploding lately, I think
Oh my God. Yeah.
they could use a lot of your wisdom. All right,
Oh, thanks.
folks. Oh, I think
The,
there are a couple of more super chats left. If you want to
yeah,
quickly
yeah,
go
yeah.
through them,
This
and
is
then we
in
go.
Arabic, so I don't know. I
I thought
think
that was Persian.
no, it's not.
Farsi.
I think it's a joke in it. I don't know how to.
Makrava va
I know. I
makar
can see.
al
I don't know.
Netanya. Yeah, we don't know what it means. Let's not
Yeah.
butcher the
So
beautiful, this beautiful language.
we can read Arabic text. Me and Harris, but we cannot go.
I
We
need
gotta.
those dots to even read it,
Yeah.
and even then I'm horrible.
Yes, we do.
Anyway,
Yeah. Hybrid is saying Ayatollah Khomeini hate Israel. Tell the host. You
yeah,
could
we know that.
Ayatollah Khomeini. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
thanks
he
for that
hates it. Yeah.
information. I don't know. Well,
Did
thank
it?
you.
Is it true?
Yeah.
Was it directed at you? maybe
I
maybe
don't
you
know.
might have displayed some of your ignorance
Yes.
on the subject.
John
No,
Rambo saying Zoroastrians. Oh, yeah, go on. No.
Zoroastrianism is the first monotheistic religion in the world, even before Islam. Why there are no more Parsis or Zoroastrians in Iran? Are there any Zoroastrians in Iran? I think there are.
First of all, they're not monotheistic. They
Yeah.
literally have two gods. I don't know what you're talking about. And also, monotheism is not an advantage. Don't act like, oh, wow. Yeah, okay, so this is the. I don't know why polytheism is inferior to monotheism, right? And also, there are Zoroastrians in Iran. What are you talking about? They're, like, for example, in Yezd, they have a temple.
In India, they
Yezd,
believe
right?
that all the Zoroastrians they fled Iran and they settled in India.
No, yeah, there's still Zoroastrians in Iran, and they are oppressed, they are mistreated, but in Iran, but they are still there. They do exist. So, Hu Jintao, do you want to read this one?
Yeah, saying please take out 2 minutes to discuss why the difference. Why is there a difference between Iranians being liberals versus Pakistanis love playing with Islamism, and why that big difference? I think I've discussed that before. I think Iranian people have experienced or seen first-hand effects of what Islam can do to you, what it means to live under the hammer of Islam, whereas Pakistan has always lived in this proto-Anglo-inspired, Indian-infused democracy, so-called democracy. So they haven't really lived under the thumb of Islamism. So that's why they romanticize that. And obviously, there's a burden of status quo. They think, oh, the reason why we are such a failed state is because we didn't become Islamic. So if we import Islam, or if we implement Islamism in our society, then all of our problems will go away. You know, it's kind of like Islam is the messiah for them. Whereas Iranian people, I think they've already seen it. I think Armin could probably expand a bit more.
I think a main other reason, you're right about that. That's one reason. Another reason is because of the Pahlavis and Ataturk, right? So the Reza Pahlavi was inspired by Ataturk, and he modernized Iran. and his son continued the modernization. And I think the Iranian people had a taste of what it's like to modernize before the mullahs. So the difference could not be any wider. So it's not just that they are suffering under the mullahs. It's also that they remember how it's possible to live, right? How it's what the potentials of Iran are because of what the Pahlavis showed them. The Pahlavis brought them, women's rights, women education, modernization, industrialization, so many wide education, so many things that Iranian people, like if you compare the Qajar dynasty before the Pahlavi dynasty and the Pahlavi, it was like night and day. The advancements, the economic growth, the educational growth, the rights of women, the healthcare, everything in tourism, in culture, everything was growing on such a rapid pace. And the Iranian people remember what it's like before the Islamic Revolution.
But I've
So it
heard
was
that.
that as well.
But I've heard that Iranian people actually welcomed and supported Khamenei's revolution. Why, if things were going so smoothly, why were people say, or was it again the incumbency or status quo frustration, kind of like what Pakistanis are feeling right now?
Well, most of the people that were participating in the revolution in 1979, they now know that that was a serious mistake. They were fooled by the communists, right? So the leftist Iranian fooled Iranians that we need a revolution. They had a revolutionary fetish. So it was either the Islamists and the leftists, the Marxists, united in convincing the Iranian people that things are horrible, even though things were improving on a rapid pace. They kept on spreading false stories and false rumor about the Pahlavis, and many Iranian people bought it. And now Iranian people, most people who were participating in the revolution in 1979, one of the famous chants in Iran when people come and protest, the older generation, the chant is like "Ma ishtabah kardim ke inqilab kardim." Like, we made a mistake that we did the revolution, right? So a lot of Iranian people are filled with regret. Many older generation Iranians cry and beg forgiveness to their children and their grandchildren for what we have done. They beg for forgiveness that we didn't know what we were doing. We were fooled. We've ruined this country, and we will never be able to repay what the cost that we have brought to it. So Iranian people are filled with regret for doing the revolution.
Can you share my screen for a second? And this is basically what happened overnight. And this is a pinned tweet of Armin Navabi. This is Armin's mum just before 1979's revolution. And then on the right, you can see how overnight people were forced to transform against their will. And that curse has stayed with Iran for nearly 44 years now. And hopefully, not for so long.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, people, thank you very much for tuning in. We, as I said, we'll probably try to do this a bit more frequently. And as I said, next couple of days are going to be very interesting. I am rooting for Israel going after Iran's nuclear facilities. I don't know if it's possible or not. Or, I'll take top leadership of the Islamic regime. No pressure.
Yes, and to be honest, we will be fair. Like, if there is no major reaction, we will come here and we will be honest and like, okay, we were expecting a big reaction, and it's not. Like, we're not going to try to hide, make excuses for things that we wanted to have.
And also, before we go, please check out Armin Navabi's channel. Can you share my screen, please? Please check out Armin Navabi's channel, Atheist Republic. There's so many live streams there. Armin discusses so many topics. So I'm pretty sure you're going to love it. And I listen to it all the time. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you very much for joining. Until next time, ta-da.
Stay liberal.